So the next position we go over is going to be really important. We're going to call it topside control, because it's when my partner rolls out of my omoplata, but I'm able to come to the top and maintain control while remaining in the position where I can re-plata and get back to the omoplata position. Topside control is really important because it allows us to solidify the position without Eric getting away, and we can continue to hunt the omoplata as well as all of the other submissions, as well as a couple of new submissions that I'm going to show you from the topside control position. The first thing to understand is the most common reason we find ourselves in this position is we didn't block the hip. Either we didn't sit up fast enough or we lost control. If we have our elbow blocking their hip, it's really rare that they're going to be able to roll, and when they do, we have some other options that I'll show you next. So, if I get Eric into the omoplata, I want to make sure that I control the elbow. In this case, remember our standard omoplata position is my outside hand controls the elbow, my inside hand controls the pants. If I have this and Eric tries to roll, it's going to be really, really hard. So usually when he's able to roll, it's because maybe he caught me in transition. So the reason that I mention this is, if I feel him being able to roll, instead of my outside hand controlling the elbow, my inside hand's going to control the elbow. And as he rolls, I'm going to do this all, we're going to break it down into a couple of different positions next. But for now, I'm just going to show you the full roll up where I follow him. So Eric rolls, now I'm going to follow him, and I come up, putting my knees under him and maintaining control of the elbow. The reason that I control his elbow with my inside hand is so that I can post with my outside hand to help myself come up if I need to. So this is what we're going to call topside control. Now, we're going to break it down and demonstrate exactly why this is such a powerful position. So I get into it, right? Maybe I just got to the omoplata, I'm going for my grips, and before I go for my grips, Eric rolls. Immediately, I transfer to this elbow control. And now you notice how I'm not in topside control yet? Eric, I'm going to ask you to turn into me. Eric, I'm going to ask you to try to get away from me. We have a lot of control here just from the elbow grip. Now if we lose the elbow, right, then we have to go to side control, the way we did before. But you see how his elbow still hasn't crested my knee line. As long as that hasn't happened, he can't get away. This is not as powerful as topside control, but it's still powerful enough to hold Eric. So to get to topside control, I'm going to post my hand, come to my knees. Now, it's doubly powerful because instead of just my hand controlling Eric's elbow and stopping him from turning in, now Eric's elbow has to go through my hand and the entirety of my thigh controlling. And so, once again, Eric, try and turn into me. Try and get away from me. Alright? You want to always watch, and I'll go over some details for this too. We can also hit wrist locks in transition, but we'll go over that in a second. So, this is the topside control position, and we're going to work from here a couple of times during this. But here's the thing. I always want you to remember that you have the option to re-plata. All I do to re-plata is I'm going to turn my head away from Eric, and my near side shoulder is the one I'm going to roll over. When I do that, that's going to put pressure on Eric's shoulder that's going to force him to follow me. So I post with my outside hand, look toward my outside hand, and I roll right back to the omoplata position. Again, what's the difference? Why didn't this work the first time? It was when Eric's elbow escaped. And so let's turn this way. You can make this a drill where Eric looks away and rolls, follow him, come right up to topside control. The reason we want to make this a drill is we want it to be smooth like that, right? Where I come up and I'm on my knees immediately, just in this position, which minimizes the chances of his elbow getting away. But as we demonstrated first, if I end up here, right, it's not the end of the world. It's the end of the world if I let go of his elbow. If I'm here, I just kind of come up. Look to one side, look to the outside, push to the outside, roll over that shoulder inside, and re-plata. So now, I'm going to show it one more time, but I'm going to show it when this time Eric is going to get his elbow up. So if Eric goes to roll, and I come up, now if he's able to free his elbow, I no longer have topside control, I have to come to side control. Right? But if we get topside control, we're always able to get him into that re-plata position. I talk about islands of safety in a sea of danger, and how I define that is, if I can attack my opponent, but they can't attack me, if they're working harder than I am, and if I have a little bit of time to make decisions, that's an island of safety. That's a hub. Topside control is a hub. At that point, we have the ability to decide whether we want to re-plata, whether we want to come up and take side control for the points, whether we want to go for another submission, which we'll go over in a second, And all of those options are available to us at Topside Control. So definitely spend some time getting used to this role.